Hi, I'm Paul. I'm the Chief Human Resources Officer of the Week Innovate. As you know, we have acquired 10 startups over the past 3 years in an attempt to be more innovative. When we last spoke, you told me that we need immediate result. We want ownership of products. It is too costly to manage so many startups. You need more management control. So my team and I have put together a proposal for consideration. Let me introduce Ashley, my research analyst, to start it. Okay?
Hi board members, my name's Ashley and I'm the research analyst here at Victoria Bank. I'm here to present to you all about what our staff members have told us. So we conducted some interviews with them. Oh sorry, I didn't realise that's actually my twin sister who works in Victoria Bank. But anyway, here are the presentations.
To me, it just feels unnecessarily bureaucratic. I just see guys in suits in roles that they haven't really earned and speak with authority on things that they haven't really earned their stripes in. But now, we've been successful in the past, but our challenges are a lot bigger, and I'm looking to Big Bank to step up and start supporting us with their teams. But things are going to have to change first for that to happen. We have our own way of working, and I've got to the point now that because we work in such a clashing manner with Big Bank, that I don't allow Big Bank people to speak to my staff directly, and I manage all conversation with Big Bank myself.
At the moment, I feel the most challenging part would be to be able to get the senior management from the proposed amalgamating organisation together and share the values, the philosophies and whatever culture they may have in their particular organisation, and make sure that we work efficiently as one team. Communication can also be a problem, whether it is in the written format in emails or just general letters or memos or notices on notice boards.
For me, it's that when I work with the startups, often I don't know if I should be working with them or not. Sometimes a founder will come and talk to me to do some work with them, and I'll start on it, but then my manager tells me that I have to stop. And so I'll start working on something else for the bank, and then the founder and my manager will end up having a conversation, normally a heated conversation, and then my manager will then tell me to drop what I'm working on to then go work on what the startup wants. So it's a very confusing piece because it's almost like there's too many chefs, and it's really difficult.
Well, I guess my biggest concern is that I feel like we're a bit disconnected. They're over there doing their thing and we're over here doing our thing. We're just not working as one big collaborative team.
So speaking of the communication part, I think the lost contact and lost control is a quite common happen during the startups. And I just feel like they don't care about what we think, and they just don't share the information with us. And sometimes we just lost the decision making, the timing, or something like that.
Being in a position that I have not grown up in the digital age, and I'm not familiar with the various different technologies that are available. That would be I wouldn't be able to, or maybe I would be able to adapt, given lots of studies to be able to do so. The other area which I feel could be at a disadvantage is that there's so many digital media available that it would be very difficult to find which would be the most ideal and inexpensive to meet our individual needs.
So you're probably wondering after all those interviews, what does this mean for me? Well, I'm here to tell you, and I'm here to tell you the theory behind it. So if we look at the competing values framework, we can identify where each of our startups sits, as well as where Victoria Bank sits, as well as where we envision Vic Innovate to sit. So if we look here, we've got the newly founded startup sitting as a clan culture. That culture really has an internal focus on their staff members. If we move over here, we can identify the immature and the mature startups as being ad hoc crossing culture. This culture really is focused on flexibility, external focused, really looking at growth and creativity. Now if we look way down here, this is where Victoria Bank sits. It's the market culture. So that's where the stability and control comes into it, the goal focused, and we really like to achieve well-defined objectives here at Victoria Bank. So our issue will be, if you see here, we've identified that Vic Innovate should be sitting between the adhocracy and the market culture, leaning more towards the adhocracy culture. So our challenge will be consolidating each of our startup companies as well as the culture of Victoria Bank into one culture of Vic Innovate. If done unsuccessfully, we can see increased likelihood of countercultures forming. This is where pockets of resistance counter that of the management team, which can lead to unproductive behaviour and productivity losses. Now we're going to look at power and politics. We can see here that Victoria Bank identifies as being bureaucratic, whereas our startups we identify as being non-bureaucratic. Now, bureaucracy stifles innovation according to Smith 2006. So what we want to do is we want the startups to create a co-determination with Victoria Bank, noting that our C-level executive team leaders will be coming from Victoria Bank. Now, a co-determination is where opposing parties combine in joint management of mutual interest. Now, another key challenge that our staff members have mentioned is communication. Bordia et al. 2004 state that management can reduce employee uncertainty and increase feelings of being in control through communication. We also know that innovation takes place in cross-functioning teams and requires effective communication, according to Jones et al. 2017. Each of our startups need to communicate with each other to secure the resources they need for developing the functions and keeping employees informed, according to Jones et al. 2017. This is key for communication, which was identified by our staff members.
Good afternoon. As mentioned before, my name is Samarth Noyce and I'll be the implementation manager for this project. My role today will take you through what our overall strategy is, how we'll be implementing that, and what our next steps will be. First of all, our recommendations. Number one, we're looking at an all-in approach for our business. This will allow us to maximise business benefit by moving everyone to the new model in one go, and also to minimise impact to startups. Now, this may feel counterintuitive at the time, but you can imagine running a startup and having your developers moved away from you, but still being required to run your business whilst another team is forming. Second is how we're going to manage our power. Now, this is something very important. How are we going to allocate power around the business? Now, typically, our bank operates as what's called a bureaucracy. What we'll be doing is moving to a co-determination model whereby all of our C-level executives and heads of departments will be Victoria Bank employees, but instead they'll be supported by individual founders that are best fit for those roles, along with a newly founded area called Chief of Strategy, which will contain remaining founders who can provide strategy advice as well. That'll allow us to maintain a level of control over the business. We'll also make sure that we don't have countercultures brewing, and finally allow us to really maintain that culture of innovation and not to be stifled by a true bureaucracy. Finally, technology. We're looking to move to a single HR solution, away from various and fragmented views, and also looking at implementing a single communications tool. In this case, we've selected Workplace by Facebook, as it's very similar to what most people are used to at home. Finally, cultural events. We want to run a number of days across the business as we're working with the relevant C-level executives to plan these out and how it's going to work for their team. More to come on that one. Now you've heard the recommendations, I also alluded to this organisational chart. What you can see here is that we have our standard C-suite of executives, including a CFO, CIO and the like. But the final, we also notice an additional C-level executive called the CSO, which is the Chief of Strategy, something I alluded to earlier. What you'll notice is all the heads of these departments, and in some cases the HR manager where there's just purely a straight founder, is going to have that consultative approach with our founders to retain that level of power. This is going to be really key for how we drive innovation and culture in the business. So what you're probably wondering is how are we going to get there? It's all well and good to have recommendations, but what does implementation look like? So first of all, we move to a feasibility phase in Q4 of this year. This will allow us to really start costing out all of these. What is the financial impact to the business? And how feasible is this to actually work? From there, we'll then move into consultation. We'll start working with the founders of all the startups and the proposed members of the C-level suite,
The only one that's been determined so far has been Paul as the head of HR. From there we move to an announcement in Q2. That's a really key piece there, that we're moving very quickly from announcement to team kickoff. And the reason for that being is you don't want to allow a large amount of time, which could risk attrition, but at the same time you don't want it to be too short, as that could feel like a shock. In tandem, as the team's starting together, we'll be moving to implement our HR system integration across all employees, and also looking to implement Workplace by Facebook. Over the next 3 quarters from there we'll start moving into a storming phase. This is basically where our teams start to get to know each other better and how they start working out how they're going to work together. This can be turbulent, so it's something we need to prepare ourselves for. From there we move to a forming phase, and this is where we start forming our cultural norms and our values and what it really means to be part of a particular team. And finally a norming phase. So after FY18, Q14 and 12 months time onwards, we expect this to really hit a business as usual stride and big innovate. And all we'll really be required to do there is really start embedding that culture and making sure that we stay innovative and create our own brand. Now what we need to do is really work out what do the next few months look like. Based on your feedback as we move into our next Q&A session, we're looking to either get a go or no go on the initial concepts and also move on an acceptance of timelines. From there, the team and I will go away and conduct a feasibility study to make sure that this is really going to land the way in which we're expecting. This will probably include a few more interviews and a full view of costs incurred. Thank you for your time, and I'll hand you back to Paul for the question and answer session.
Hello guys, I'm Cholin. I was acting the sheriff of human resources and head of marketing, and I was very delighted to work with these remarkable people.
Hi guys, my name's Ashley and I played the Nervous Research Analyst and the Head of Marketing.
My name is Zsuzsanna Lecvavipoto-Smith, and I'm very proud to be part of this team, and I would like to thank everyone giving me the opportunity to be part of it and speak to you today.
Hi, my name's Samarth. I played the role of the Cookery Entrepreneur, the Nervous R&D team member, and Change Implementation Manager. Thanks for watching our presentation.
My life is brilliant.